Hello and welcome to Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle and today I'm going to be reviewing Soul. As I predicted in my top 10 films of 2020 video, this film did indeed make me cry, but for reasons I did not expect. So hold your lollipop and hear me out. Before we start, please consider subscribing to help support this channel so we can keep making videos like this. Soul tells the story of Joe, a jazz musician who is still waiting for his big break. After securing a gig that will change his life, he falls in a manhole but doesn't quite die. He ends up in U Seminar, formerly known as the Great Before, a place where young souls develop and gain personalities before being sent to Earth to be born. There he meets 22, a soul that has been unable to find their spark and has therefore not been sent to Earth yet. This unlikely pair team up, and via a Freaky Friday storyline involving a cat, they try to get Joe's soul back in his body in time for his big musical performance. What's interesting about the topic and themes of this Pixar film is that they are not concrete. We've previously seen Pixar tackle physical objects such as toys, cars, bugs. We've even been taken as far as emotions with Inside Out, though they still had distinct features that were easy to comprehend. In Soul, Pixar takes on the afterlife and before life, things with inconclusive properties that have been speculated about by every culture and religion on Earth. Yes, they have previously explored the afterlife using traditions from Mexican culture in Coco, but Soul seeks to portray a less specific interpretation of the same themes. The world they have made is tantalizingly creative, visually exciting, and filled with important details. One of these details is the lost souls, who are particularly heartbreaking. They have this desert-looking landscape with a starry sky, and in that sky there are these bubbles filled with the souls of living people who are so enthralled by an activity that their souls occupy a place between their living body on Earth and this spiritual other. This is such a beautiful way of visualizing the experience of being so absolutely inspired by something that you zone out. However, beneath these inspired souls are the lost souls, patrolling the desolate landscape like ghouls. These are individuals that have become plagued by negative emotions and mental health issues, symbolized by this heavy black sand that covers them and increasingly weighs them down. These are incredibly mature themes for a film that also features a talking cat and the absolutely adorable blobs that are the young souls. But it is this perfect fusion between playful and serious that makes Pixar films so powerful. Soul is a feast for the eyes. I have no doubt that any child would enjoy watching this, but the messages that this film gives for the adults are equally important. As Joe sees a collage of moments from his life, he says, "My life was meaningless," and 22 later speculates whether they are just not good enough for living. These lines represent fears that so many people have. Joe believes with all his heart that getting this gig of his dreams will have meant his life did have meaning, that everything was worthwhile, but as you might have guessed, this turns out to not be the case. The filmmakers encourage the audience to look around and enjoy every moment. It is an exhausted mantra that has been written into every self-help book, but the reason that I cried when Joe learns this lesson is because he is experiencing small things that I have come to miss during this ongoing lockdown, which I can't separate from the experience of watching the film. Just like last week's film, Pieces of a Woman, Soul hits differently during a pandemic. There is nothing I would like more than to ride a crowded underground train, go and have a nice chat with my hairdresser, and enjoy the music of buskers. These are things that 22 is experiencing for the first time, and Soul certainly makes me appreciate the things that I have taken for granted. To deliver these meaningful messages, Soul takes a stylish approach. Visually, I have already mentioned the image of the lost souls, but there are many more examples. I loved the design of the ethereal beings that oversee the souls, with their cross-dimensional look, inspired by Picasso paintings and wireframe sculptures. This line-based design was furthered in the Hall of Everything, a place where objects from Earth are used to inspire young souls, and these objects were drawn very much like blueprints. Lines were also used when Joe is falling from the conveyor belt that takes you into the light down to the U seminar. He turns black and white as if drawn on a chalkboard, and there's also a period where his colour bleeds in much the same way as was used in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This type of mixing of visual styles and blending of 2D and 3D effects reminded me of a short animated film called Rabbit and Deer, which is free to watch on YouTube, link in the description. When I first watched it, I was very impressed and still am at the simplicity and effectiveness of it, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who enjoys animations. Back to Soul, which is just as stylish musically as it is visually, with a soundtrack featuring jazz music inspired by our main character Joe. It is not a genre of music I'd usually associate with children's films, but I think it makes a wonderful addition to the story, and gives this Pixar film a distinct sound compared to other films. So Coco had a guitar player, Soul has a pianist. It seems that the best vehicle for themes of death is a musician, according to Pixar. To bring the story to life, we have quite the mix of voice actors. Jamie Foxx voices Joe and Tina Fey voices 22. I am used to seeing and hearing Jamie Foxx in more serious action roles, but I think he did well in bringing some playfulness to the character, and his background as a musician undoubtedly helped bring some authenticity to Joe as well. I wasn't sold on Fey's voice at first, but I ended up really liking it. I think it's that layer of sarcasm and sass that really helps deliver this character that has lived forever and also not at all. I also absolutely loved Rachel House and Richard Ayoade as Terry and Counselor Jerry, respectively. They were absolutely hilarious, especially when playing off one another. Then there is the character of Moonwind, whose voice turned out to be that of Graham Norton. He was an unexpected treat, playing a quirky captain roaming the desolate landscape and rescuing the aforementioned lost souls. In describing scenes from this film, I have said so many strange sentences that feel like they belong in a children's book. Soul is definitely an adventure, one that has taken me to places that I'd never have expected. It somehow makes the topic of death lighthearted, but also incredibly moving, interweaving important life lessons throughout its playful story, such as to relish each moment and to always look where you're walking. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more videos, and comment with your thoughts on the topic. What subject do you think Pixar should tackle next? For more film content, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Letterboxd and Facebook, links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.